Hello fellow guitar geeks! This is the Harley Benton Thunder 99, and while it looks like an effects pedal, it is in fact a 50 watt aside stereo power amp. And in this video, I'm going to give you 6 reasons why you need one. Before we go through those 6 reasons, let me quickly give you a rundown of the features of the Thunder 99. It's got mono and stereo in, it's got stereo out. Up here is a line-in jack for your MP3 player or phone so you can play backing tracks. There's also a sneaky little headphone jack up here, which I'll go into in a moment. This is the master volume controller, which controls the headphones and the output of the amp. This mute button turns the sound off and on. And finally, the 24 volt power input. And notice it's 24 volts, not 9 volts like most standard pedals. This is not a standard pedal, it's a power amp. And as it requires 24 volts, it comes with its own power supply, which is frankly huge. Before we go any further, this is a power amp, not a preamp where you get most of your tone shaping goodness, but it's a power amp that makes that good tone louder. Okay, now we know what it does, let's find out the 6 reasons why you need it.
Number 1, it will power your pedals.
For me, the most obvious use of the Thunder 99 is to use it to power your modeler or your multi-effects. So I've got it here running with the HX Stomp from line 6. I'm coming out left and right, so stereo in to the Thunder 99. Then I'm coming out left and right stereo into the Harley Benton cab with vintage V30s. And the orange PPC 212 with creambacks. And I'm going to pan those left and right so you can hear it in stereo. Poweramp off. That is how you can power your modeler, multi-effects system, or whatever through 2 cabs for about $80. That's insane.
Number 2, it could rescue you from disaster.
It doesn't matter if you play guitar as a hobby or as a profession or somewhere in the middle, every guitar player's rig should be reliable. Sadly, nothing is 100% fail-safe, and having something like the Thunder 99 in your guitar case or your gig bag could save the day. Imagine that you're at a gig and your amp dies. Bad times. If you have the Thunder 99 with you, you could just put this after your dirt pedals or somewhere in your rig right at the end of the chain and run from the Thunder 99 straight into your guitar cab. The sound may not be something that you're used to, but it will get you through the gig.
Number 3, use it to play with a friend.
You can use the Thunder 99 to run 2 instruments to 2 independent cabs. So that's 2 musicians, 1 amplifier. The way this works is to run the pedal board from the first instrument in here, and then go to the first instrument's cab out of here, and then run the second instrument's pedal board into here, and out here to the second instrument's cab. So rather than thinking of it as left and right, you've got channels 1 and channel 2. So you could have guitar and guitar, you could have guitar and bass, you could have bass and bass, you could have some kind of mono synth, 2 mono synths, anything you can really think of that needs to be made louder.
Number 4, hush your monster rig.
Yes, the Thunder 99 can power 2 cabs, but it can also power headphones. So this is my board. I've got the Ibanez Phaser, the Panama Overdrive, and I've got the Moore R7 Reverb. I can't plug headphones into the reverb, so I can't hear this unless I've got something that has a headphone output. The Thunder 99 has one. You plug it in there. And now whatever you've plugged into the Thunder 99 comes out of these headphones. And this master volume doesn't just control the cabs. When you've got headphones in, it also controls the headphones. So you can also use the Thunder 99 for silent practice.
Number 5, get a little bit wet.
The Thunder 99 can also be used as a really simple way to do a wet-dry rig. And if you haven't come across a wet-dry rig before, it's basically using two amps. The first amp has all your fuzzes, your overdrives, your distortions, but no time-based effects. The second amp has the fuzzes, distortions, overdrives with time-based effects and modulation like reverb, delay, chorus, all that sort of stuff. So let's hear just the dry signal. So I'm on B, which is running the signal from the guitar to the preamp underneath here and straight into one of the cabs. Now let's switch that over to the A cab, which is running through the MD200, so this is the wet signal. Now this is where the fun starts. Let's do wet, dry at the same time. So pressing this button gives us A, B. The guitar signal's coming out of the guitar, into the preamp, into the splitter. Then we've got one side going here, into the dry signal, into the Thunder 99. Then we've got the other side going through the MD200, making it wet, and into the other side of the Thunder 99, into the other cab. So having wet, dry at the same time. Listen to this. I don't normally run wet-dry because I'm too lazy to carry two amps, but using something like the Thunder 99 would probably make me use wet-dry more because I know that when I do use it, I really do enjoy it because you retain that clarity of your tone. But if you've tried wet-dry, you probably want to try wet-dry-wet.
Number 6. Get wet on the sides.
Yes, wet, dry, wet. I'm quite excited because I've never actually experienced wet, dry, wet ever. So I'll explain how it works and what it does, and then I'll experience it with you. Now the board looks fairly similar to as it did before, but there's a few vital differences. The signal's still coming into the preamp here. It's still coming out of the preamp into the ABY box. But now I've got A going into the MD200, and then the MD200 is converting this to stereo, and I've got one side of this coming into this cab, and the other side coming into this cab. So everything coming through the cabs we heard before is now completely wet. Here is a cable that's going to my Fender Deluxe Reverb. So this time, the dry signal is going to the Fender Deluxe Reverb, which is going to the Harley Benton cab in the middle now. And the wet signal is going into the Thunder 99 and being split between the orange cab and the Marshall cab down there. That's going to be wet, dry, wet. It's going to be amazing. So let's hear just the dry. Now let's hear just the wet. So that's the MD200 going into the Thunder 99 in stereo. Let's hear all three signals now. So we've got Fender Deluxe Reverb in the middle, and then we've got the Thunder 99 left and right. This is going to be monumental. So, wet, dry, wet is immense fun, and I'm going to be coming back to that very often now that I've got the Thunder 99, because wet, dry, wet is normally prohibitively expensive and it requires a lot of space because you need 3 amps and 3 cabs, and in my case, 3 microphones. However, by doing the wet signal with the Thunder 99 and a preamp, you can get away with it by not having a tube amp, you know what I mean? So having a tube amp for your main dry signal, that lets you feel comfortable and warm and confident knowing you're using a tube amp. But by feeding those wet signals with a solid state Thunder 99, it really actually benefits from the clarity of an amp like this rather than a tube amp, which would be more characterful. Yeah. Actually, before I move on, I'm going to throw this flint in there and get some stereo reverb and tremolo, which is going to sound beautiful. You've probably realised that I've had a lot of fun with the Thunder 99 today, and more than I thought I was going to have, because when Harley Benton sent it to me and said, can you make a video, I didn't really know how I was going to show you what a stereo pedalboard sized amp could do, but I'm so glad that I did, and I'm so glad that I'm now going to buy that. So rather than send that back, that's going to stay with me. I need it for my wet dry my new rig. Anyway, let's review the pedal. Pros for the Thunder 99. It is light, it is small, it fits on your pedal board or in your gig bag, and you could take it to a gig and you wouldn't know that you had it unless you needed it. So it's not like you need to lug another amp as backup. That alone sells this thing for me. It's also extremely simple to use. There's one knob, 2 ins, 2 outs, a line in and a headphone out. It doesn't get much more simple than that. It is insanely cheap, and especially considering what it allows you to do. So with the wet and dry rig, or the wet dry wet, you've got another amp, the headphone practicing. For €85 at time of filming, there is nothing else that currently beats the Thunder 99. The most obvious con for me is that the power supply is flipping huge. It is bigger than the pedal itself, but if you didn't have the mass in that, you'd have it in the pedal. And having a massive power supply is not unique to the Harley Benton Thunder 99. All the little pedal-y kind of things have wall warts or things of about that size, so don't let that put you off, but it is big. This is not so much a downside or a disadvantage, but it's a pet peeve, a pet hate of mine, and that is that Harley Benton is saying it's 50 watts a side, but that's 50 watts a side into 4 ohms. And I don't have any 4 ohm cabs, and 4 ohm cabs are not that common. Harley Benton's own cab down here and the other ones are all 8 ohms. And when you double that to 8 ohms from 4, you reduce it from 50 watts a side to 25 watts a side. It is still super loud. It's not half as loud. That's not how it works. It is super loud still. It's more than loud enough to get over a drummer, but it's not really 50 watts a side unless you run it into 4 ohms, which not many people do. A tiny little con is that it's not that sexy to look at, and if you want a sexy pedal board, this is going to kind of ruin that, so stick it underneath or whatever. But if you're the kind of person that likes to have a nice looking pedal board, this might not go for you, which honestly, you shouldn't let that put you off. Have a word with yourself. I know what you're thinking. Would I recommend the Thunder 99 from Harley Benton? Well, yes, I would, 1000%. There are some slight cons to it, but for what you get for the price and the world that it opens up, and the reliability in case your rig goes down, all that kinds of stuff, €85 currently, it's a no-brainer. Absolute no-brainer. There are some alternatives. There's the GPA 100, also from Harley Benton. That has a 3-band EQ on it. It's mono, and it's a little bit cheaper. It depends what your needs are. If you just need a power amp, then maybe the GPA 100 is for you. There's also the Baby Bomb 30 from Moore, which is smaller and not as powerful, but does have a bright switch on it. There's the Magnum 44 from Electro Harmonics, and there's the Quilter Interblock, which is much more expensive, but maybe you get what you pay for. If any of the 6 reasons in this video have grabbed your attention and you're now gasping after a stereo pedalboard-sized power amp, look no further than the Harley Benton Thunder 99. Congratulations, you've made it to the end of the video, which firmly puts you in the end of the video club. To prove that you are a member of this prestigious elite, when you leave your comments down below the video, please include the phrase, "Thunder! Thunder! Thunder! I've gone too high!" And that'll let me know that you watched this part, and it'll make me chuckle, and we'll all feel some form of togetherness. So I'm off to go and experiment with some more wet dry wet with this thing, and if you're new to the channel, then why not join the family? Why not click subscribe and come back and see some more videos about guitars? If you're already subscribed, then there's some videos just here that you can check those out and enjoy some more guitar fun with me. I'll see you later. Bye bye.